Thank you so much to Mary Kometz of Houlihan Lawrence for sponsoring today's video. Hi guys, I'm Liz Woods and welcome to Ryemarkable Moms. This channel is all about sharing our positive stories and inspiring one another to make the world a better place for our kids a little bit every day. Today I talk with Colleen Margiloff. Colleen's brought something really cool to Rye. It's called the Big Give. The Big Give is a day where Rye families gather and they spend the afternoon actively giving back to local organizations in our community. What I really love in this interview is learning why Colleen has decided to bring the Big Give to Rye and her favorite moments over the past 5 years doing it here. I hope you enjoy, and here we go. Hi guys, I'm here today with Colleen. She's the mom of 3 kids. She has twin, who are a girl and a boy.
Yes.
They're 14 and a 12-year-old son, and she's here today to talk about the Big Give. Thank you so much for having me here today, Colleen.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Big Give?
Sure. So the Big Give was started in 2012 by my best friend Kathleen, who lives in Virginia. And it was probably this time of year, and or I guess it would be the fall. And what was happening is that it was another canned food drive. And so she dutifully went off to the grocery store and purchased some cans for her kids to then bring into school and donate. And a light bulb went off. And the thought was, here I am purchasing the canned food, giving it to my kids, but we're passively giving. And while the food bank benefited, and which is fantastic and wonderful, she was worried that her kids weren't getting the message of what they were actually trying to do and where all of this was going and what all of this looked like. And so she came up with this idea for the Big Give. And the idea is that she went around where she lived and she found organizations who needed some help, but they wanted active help. They wanted people to jump in and do a hands-on activity. And so she surveyed a bunch of friends, and they were so happy and willing, and they were like, yes, we want to spend an afternoon giving. And so thus the Big Give was born. And so what has happened, so this is our 5th year in Rye doing it. So the next year, because I fell in love with this idea, because I wanted my kids and family to see this as well. We typically begin with all of us gathering together and we talk about what we're going to do, and then we go from activity to activity. And so things we've done in the past is we've had families go to Stop and Shop with a list for Bread of Life, and then they go and they stock the pantries. And then we have families who last year for the first time we did the Ronald McDonald House, where they went and they made a meal and they baked cookies and they decorate for the holidays. In the past we've gone to Pet Rescue, and last year we did a lot of manual labor, which is great for the teenagers, where we prepared them so that they could plant seed for the spring. And we all gather together at the end and we go to Don Bosco, where for their Santa lunch that they do with local children in Port Chester, they hand out presents. So what we do is we wrap all of the presents, and it turns into the craziest mess of elves you've ever seen, because we're all together. Last year we had 32 families, and we're wrapping all of these presents, and it is an assembly line. It is, boys presents 1 to 3, girls presents 1 to 3, boys presents 6 to 7, and we have them all wrapped so that Don Bosco doesn't have to worry about it through all of these generous donations of gifts. And so then they have them ready to go to hand out to the children, and then we sit down all the kids and we talk about what did they learn from the day and what was their favorite part. And that by far is my favorite, because there's always something really special that somebody took away from it.
It's amazing. What motivates you to keep going with the Big Give?
Sure. So, I had an incredibly blessed childhood. My parents were happily married. We were a strong family unit of 5, but there were times where, and it wasn't until I was older that I realized it, that my parents had to work a little bit harder. My mom was a nurse, my dad was in the Navy. They were putting themselves through college. My dad refereed basketball, and while he loved it, it was extra income. And I think back to the days where, when you think about back to school shopping, where we take our kids and we're like, we're gonna get everything that we need. We're gonna get new sneakers and pants and shoes and all of that, and they're moaning and groaning, and you're moaning and groaning, and when I started to think about it, I remember there were years where we would go to the exchange, which was kind of like the Navy Target, but on a much smaller scale. And we would pick out all of our clothes, and then we would drop the clothes off at layaway. And so we would see all of our clothes, and then we would say goodbye to our clothes for a couple months, and my parents would then pay off the clothes. And it was because we couldn't afford that lump sum. And that idea in my head that there is scarcity that we may not recognize, and that I think about how we all have so much, but we have so much to give as well. And it looks different and in many different ways, and we all want what's best for our kids. It goes back to that, right? We want to give them everything, and we want them to feel safe and loved, and a roof over their heads, and warm coats, and food in their belly, and all of these things. And the idea of the Big Give is that not only are we providing for others, but we're also opening our kids' eyes that it's not just a can we drop off. It's going to, last year we went to this place called the Coachman House, and it's a family living shelter. And the families went, and we did bingo with them, and we decorated cookies, and the kids' eyes were opened. Here it was in White Plains, and our kids are used to White Plains means movie theaters or Targets. And so they were, this is 15 minutes away from me, that families are living like this. And, the city feels so far away, but White Plains necessarily doesn't. And so, that's what sustains me. That's what keeps me going, is that there are families where they need just a little bit more in some way, and we can provide that.
So do you have any favorite moments from previous Big Gives that you've done?
Sure, there's so many. I think there's two things that stand out the most. I think that one, it's hearing from families who then, after the Big Give, then continue it on and do it in some way. So, the Becton family has been a big part of Bread of Life, and so now, with the Big Give, I think that, it's part of their family life and what they do. I think that it's been others pitching in. This year typically what happens is we start our day around Ryemarkable. But this year we're going to be starting at the synagogue, which I think is very timely. And having the kids come into the synagogue, it will be the first time that some kids have ever been in a synagogue. And that was Monica Brenner's idea. And so I think the ultimate thing has been how so many people afterwards are like, how can I help you next year? That is the greatest gift, I think, for me, is that it's not me who does all the work. I have a group of people, every year Lee Geller organizes Don Bosco, and it was her daughter Caroline who ended up volunteering at Don Bosco. And so it's how it lives on throughout the rest of the year is my favorite moment. And I think that there's been a few moments where you've seen the light bulb go off with the kids, especially with the food pantries, Carver Center, and Bread of Life are big ones. And also places when we did Pet Rescue, where the kids were so into it, and they just, it didn't feel like work to them. And that's it. It's that, giving doesn't have to be work. It's family bonding time, and it's bonding with friends, and it just, to see them light up because it feels good, it's all the gift I need.
It's great. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching today. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you go to Ryemarkablemoms.com and join the community that's changing the world a little bit every day. There's a little yellow button there that you can click on and join. Also, be sure to hit the like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe on YouTube. Hope to see you guys soon.